Officially, the USS Eldridge spent October 28, 1943, docked in the Philadelphia Navy Yard. The ship's official log confirms it. The Navy confirmed it. Multiple investigations confirmed it. The surviving crew members told a different story and were told in no uncertain terms to stop. This is the story of what may or may not have happened on a destroyer escort on a Tuesday afternoon in 1943, and why over 80 years later, the Navy is still very specific about what it wants you to believe. In the early 1940s, the United States Navy was fighting a war it was nearly losing at sea. German U-boats were devastating Allied supply lines. The solution, the Navy decided, had to be technological, and the most radical proposal came from a physics paper published 17 years earlier. In 1927, Albert Einstein published his unified field theory, an attempt to connect electromagnetism and gravity under a single set of equations. Einstein never finished it. He died in 1955, still working on it. But someone in the Office of Naval Research believed they had taken it further, far enough to make a ship invisible. Project Rainbow, as it came to be known, aimed to surround a vessel with a powerful enough electromagnetic field to bend light around it, rendering the ship invisible to both radar and the naked eye. The test ship was the USS Eldridge. 181 men were on board. The electromagnetic generators were installed. The experiment was scheduled for October 28, 1943. What happened next is either the most dramatic failure in the history of military science or the most dramatic success. According to accounts collected by civilian researcher Morris K. Jessup in the 1950s, the Eldridge's generators were activated at approximately 0900 hours. The ship was observed at the Philadelphia dock. Then, within seconds, it was gone. Not invisible to radar, gone. Witnesses reported a thick green fog forming around the hull before the ship vanished entirely. When the fog cleared, the Eldridge was not in Philadelphia. It had, according to multiple accounts, appeared briefly in the harbor at Norfolk, Virginia, over 200 miles away. Sailors on other ships claimed to see it. Dock workers claimed to see it. Then, within minutes, it was gone again. Back in Philadelphia. When the green fog cleared in Philadelphia, the crew was in disarray. Some had gone mad. Some were found wandering the deck in a catatonic state. Others were missing entirely, never accounted for. And according to several accounts, 5 men were found partially fused into the metal of the ship's hull, embedded in steel, still alive, for a short time. The Navy's official record shows nothing unusual. The Eldridge's log for October 28, 1943, places the ship in Philadelphia all day. No anomalies, no incidents, no mention of electromagnetic testing. The story might have stayed buried entirely were it not for a man named Carlos Allende. In 1956, a physics researcher named Morris K. Jessup published a book about UFOs. He received, in response, a series of annotated letters, written in a chaotic, shifting hand by someone who claimed to have witnessed the Philadelphia experiment from a nearby merchant ship, the SS Andrew Furuseth. The letters named the operation. They described the green fog. They described what happened to the crew. The writer signed them Carl M. Allen, later confirmed as Carlos Miquel Allende, a merchant marine with a documented history of unstable behavior and an unverifiable service record. The Office of Naval Research received a copy of Jessup's book, annotated with those same handwritten notes. They had it reprinted, privately, in a limited edition, for internal distribution. The Navy has never fully explained why. Morris Jessup died in 1959. His death was ruled a suicide. His files were never recovered. The Navy's official position has remained unchanged for 80 years. The Philadelphia experiment never happened. The USS Eldridge's log shows no evidence of electromagnetic testing. The ship was never equipped with the generators the story describes. The accounts are fabrications, the product of an unstable man's letters. What the Navy does not explain is this. The ship's log for October 28, 1943, contains entries placing the Eldridge both in Philadelphia and in Chesapeake Bay. On the same day, the Navy's explanation is a clerical error. They also do not explain why. When journalists first investigated in the 1970s, surviving crew members reported being visited by men in civilian clothing, who asked them, very politely, not to speak publicly about what they remembered. Several gave on-record interviews confirming the visits. Several then gave different statements about what actually happened. Carlos Allende was located in 1969. He recanted his story, then he recanted the recantation. He died in 1994. The Navy issued no comment. The Philadelphia experiment has never been proven. The physics required, genuine electromagnetic teleportation of a 1,240-ton destroyer, remains by current scientific understanding impossible. Einstein's unified field theory was never completed. No credible evidence has emerged to verify Allende's account. What remains is a ship's log with a contradiction that was never officially resolved. A government reprint of a civilian book that was never officially explained. A physicist's death that was never officially questioned. And sailors who were visited quietly and asked not to remember what they remembered. Whether the USS Eldridge teleported in 1943 is a question with no answer. Whether the United States government worked to ensure that question would never be answered is perhaps a different question entirely.